Hey everybody, welcome back. Week-ending show here on Notre Dame Daily, of course brought to you by FanArch. I'm Pete Mulroy, and on the heels of a tremendous 2026 group, which the Irish just added to with the landing of former Michigan kicking commit Micah Drescher, Marcus Freeman and his staff continue to build on the momentum of the historic class through the first month of 2026. And it's something we've talked about on previous shows and even going back to the end and the middle parts of 2025. The Irish have already collected 8 commitments from players they legitimately and truly view as being true, impactful pieces for the future. We saw this past season how much talent existed from the 2025 class, and I'm more than certain, as I think many of us are, a handful of guys in the 2026 group are going to see the field on a regular basis next season. So the Irish continue to build their roster via traditional high school recruiting. That's a very good thing, especially when you don't have to heavily rely on the portal while using it instead as a supplemental avenue. It's great. Thus far, the 27 slate features mostly defensive players, as the early focus has been further stockpiling talent for a defense, quite honestly, that has been among the best in the nation the past few seasons. Cornerback commits in Ace Alston, Xavier Hassan, two of the top players in the class at their respective positions. Both bring incredible vision, speed, ball hawking ability, and their own brands of versatility, which, as we know, is something Marcus Freeman really loves to have in his players, especially incoming guys that they were able to go out and get on the recruiting trail. Hassan can play at the field spot, though given the physicality he likes to play with, you'd probably suggest that boundary may be the best spot on the collegiate level. For Alston, while he does possess great cover skills, he's also not afraid to come into the box and play the run. So his future could very well include a role as a nickel or slot defender, given his instincts and willingness to get physical with backs and tight ends. He's got very good recovery speed as well, which is also a plus. So you're going to be able to do a lot of different things with Ace Alston. So those are two really good-looking players that sort of, at least early on for me, stand out in this 27 class. But it doesn't stop there. Linebackers Ellis McGaskin, who was the first commit in the 27 group, and fellow second-level guy Amari Irvin bring incredible athleticism to the linebacker position. Given some of the success Notre Dame has had in developing guys here in recent time, you've got to be excited about seeing both players on Saturdays in the fall in South Bend, beginning in 2027 and beyond. Hard hitters, athletic guys, big frames, but ones that move laterally very well. McGaskin and Irvin are going to be a huge and critical part of the future here. Defensive lineman Richie Flanagan, whose brother James is a tight end with the Irish. His dad Jim played DT for ND in the 90s, brings his 6'3", 270-pound frame to the Bend. And with the great work the Irish did in adding to the future of the defensive line in both the 2026 class and the recent portal. Again, you all know how much I love Tiki Ola. Flanagan is certainly a nice addition to the room as well. Incredible athlete, and he played both sides of the football in high school. He was, however, recruited across the board as a defensive lineman, so it is expected that's the capacity he's going to serve in with the blue and gold. We have no other reason to think otherwise. Top long snapper in the country, Sean Kraft, also comes aboard, as does 4-star offensive tackle James Halter, 6'6", 275-pounder from Central Catholic in Pittsburgh. And the Irish have built a nice little pipeline with Central Catholic over the years. Both Donovan and Kurt Heinisch played their prep ball at the Steel City School. Kurt, of course, was a member of Notre Dame's 2017 class, while his brother came in via the 2022 group, and that was the same class that produced Emil Wagner, Billy Schrouth, Eli Raridan, Jadarian Price, Jalen Sneed, Ashton Craig, and of course Benjamin Morrison, just to name a few. So from a recruiting perspective for 2027, I think the adage is fair to say so far so good. And it's looking like the perfect and ideal piggyback to what Notre Dame again did in 2026. From a upcoming perspective, looking ahead to next season, one of the big areas in need, as we know, was upgrading the kicking department. To be blunt, it was a legitimate area of concern, especially with Marcello Diametti entering the portal and Noah Burnett out of eligibility. With only Eric Schmidt on the roster, Marty Biagi's group needed to add legitimate competition. It was conversations that we had here as well. Enter Spencer Porath via the January portal and Micah Drescher as a class of 2026 commit. For the incoming freshman in Drescher, he decommitted from Michigan, as we know, after head coach Sharon Moore was relieved of his duties not too long ago. Now headed to South Bend, he brings a strong leg and consistent set of numbers with him. During his senior season at Hinsdale Central in Illinois, kid put up some pretty solid numbers. 3 of 5 field goals converted, 30, 37, and a 47-yarder, the latter of which was a career long. 35 of 36 on PATs. From a touchback and kickoff standpoint, 42 of 50 went into the end zone. And he also handled punting duties in high school, so he gives you that flexibility as well. And he's going to have that great opportunity to be Notre Dame's kicker of the future. For this season, Porath, who's coming off a 15 for 17 performance from field goal as an all Big Ten honorable mention last season with Purdue, he's expected to win the kicking job in South Bend. He brings veteran experience and a large jump in consistency from his freshman season in West Lafayette to last year's sophomore campaign. And that third guy in the mix is, from a Notre Dame perspective, the veteran as far as time spent with the program. Schmidt will compete for both kicking and punting duties. Jasper Scaife's expected to be the primary punter, while Porath has the advantage in the place kicking department, you would think, for this season and probably the next one. That being said, it's not at all out of the question that Schmidt serves as the primary kickoff specialist once again. It is also worth noting that while he was 0 for 3 from field goal range last season, he was 41 of 42 on extra points. So all in all, we kind of put a bow on the portal acquisitions on yesterday's program. But from a kicking perspective, Notre Dame now heads into the 2026-27 season, I think, with much more peace of mind than it did last year, especially as you started to get into the season when Noah Burnett began dealing with his injuries and you saw inconsistencies from field goals and extra points from that combo of Schmidt and Diameti. So the room heading into next year, very talented. And I think we would all be in lockstep to say and agree that now we just need to get back on track from consistency and reliability lenses. You do that, the kicking game is essential. You're going to have nail biters. You're going to have close ones. You're going to need that field goal game. Healthy Mitch Jeter was as good as they came a couple of seasons ago, but we've had those inconsistencies. And last year, no field goals converted for the Irish after the NC State game, which is an alarming figure to think about. And then you remember that they won 10 straight to end the season, and that was with a lousy kicking game. So, and of course, you talk about the botched snap on the PAT against Texas A&M. So it was just, departmentally deficiencies across the board. So it looks like the room is stronger going into next year. Now we just have to hope the proof is in the pudding. And for as talented as this Notre Dame team is up and down the roster, loaded defense that may very well be the best unit in the country, veteran offensive line and a deep one at that, year 2 of CJ Carr, athleticism all over the receiving room, and a revitalized kicking game, the results must be there from the start. Slow starts have hindered this Irish team in the past, including the most recent one, as despite rattling off 10 straight wins, as I mentioned a moment ago, this past season, an 0-2 start, Notre Dame failed to reach the college football playoff, and we can certainly have our opinions on that. Many, including myself, believe in the Irish were screwed and robbed out of that. But the fact remains that winning one or both at the end of August and early September against Miami and A&M would have put Notre Dame comfortably in the field. So you got to be better early. You go back to 2022, Marcus Freeman's first full season as head coach. Opening season loss on the road to Ohio State, no shame in that. But then a following week loss at home in the opener, a home opener, to Marshall. Inexcusable. A week 2 loss to Northern Illinois in September of 24 sent shockwaves through the college football world, but it also eliminated any room for error the Irish had. We know they won out until losing to OSU in the national title game, but your backs were against the wall from another should never happen early season loss. And again, this past season, Notre Dame dropping its first 2 games to begin the campaign. Now preparing for 2026-27, if the Irish are going to leave no doubt as to how dominant they can be, they must, absolutely must, showcase the dominance in September. Beginning Sunday, September 6th against Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, Notre Dame needs the type of performance that showcases just how talented they are, yes, but more than that, that they're 100% ready to roll at season's start. From there, home games the following 2 weeks against Rice and Michigan State need to be handled accordingly, as does the September 26th road trip, the final game in the month of September to West Lafayette for the Purdue showdown. Get out of the month of September 4-0, and the door is wide open to make a statement the rest of the way, including opportunities. Despite people like to say the schedule is weak, and believe me, there are spots in it that you should be able to take clear advantage of, but you will have chances to pick up quality wins. Opponents like Miami, BYU on the road, UNC on the road, SMU and Navy. The Irish are going to be a top 3 to 6 preseason team. They are that good. Now, looking ahead to next year, it's time to show that they'll be ready to roll right from jump. That has been, you talk about issues, that has been a problem the past couple of seasons early. You talk about the defense looking out of sorts and in flux the first couple of weeks. They fixed it, showed how good they were, one of the best defenses from top to bottom in the country. But you've got to do it the entire span of the season. That's what championship teams are made of. I don't care what sport you're talking about. You've got to be consistent. You're going to have your bumps and bruises, but the Irish have to be better early if they certainly are going to leave, no doubt. And that starts with a whooping of the Wisconsin Badgers, September 6th at famed Lambeau Field. And just to close out this week's run of NDD, the Irish and BYU Cougars announcing Saturday, October 17th, 2026 as the date the two programs will meet on the gridiron. We were waiting the announcement. We've got it. The game's going to mark the first time in 22 years that BYU hosts Notre Dame in Provo, Utah, while also sitting as a matchup between two programs with sky-high ambitions for the season after both were left feeling scorned by the CFP committee this past season. Marcus Freeman, Kalani Sitake's groups are going to be playing with undoubtedly something to prove here. This game's also going to be a monster draw TV and in Provo, as will the one the following season between the two in South Bend. Remember, this was a 2026 and 2027 two-game home series. This upcoming season in Provo, the following season in South Bend. These are two incredibly talented football teams coached by highly representative men. For Notre Dame, we know it's an opportunity to go on the road and earn a quality win, one that's going to look even better if they enter that battle with an unblemished record and exit the same way. With that, it puts a bow on the week. Have a great weekend. If you're in line for any piece or parts of this monster snowstorm that's been forecast for different parts of the country, including here where I am in the Northeast, New York City, please stay safe. I'll talk to you all Monday. And as always, go Irish.